Welcome to FitFarm, a show dedicated to creating a better life through fitness and the grappling arts. I'm Joseph Aronson.
I'm Jackie Baker. It's time to get jacked.
What's up, listeners? Today I have Tommy Woodruff with me, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, owner of Core Combat Sports, and a vicious-looking beard. Tommy, how you doing?
Doing well, Joey. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out, man. Yeah, this is fun. We just got done watching actually Billy Jack video off the air. That was cool.
Absolutely.
So that'd be one of your role models growing up, right?
Yes, I am a child of the 70s.
Yeah.
So
still a young man, still getting after it too. I see.
Yeah, absolutely. 47 years old and no plans to stop.
Nice. So if we could fill just the people listening that don't know who you are, if we could just fill them in on you and kind of your backstory. Are you like originally from the Rockford area? Grew up here? Or?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm born and raised in Belvedere, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah. Then after that, moved to Hawaii for a bit. Yeah. Got some stories to tell you about that. And lived in Virginia near the D.C. area for a while. And then I moved back to the Rockford in the early 90s. So and been here ever since.
So the earlier moves, was that your parents then that did the moving there, or was that you did that yourself?
No, actually when I was I don't know, like 9 years old, we moved to Hawaii. That was me and my mother.
Okay.
Parents are split up.
Okay.
And mom just wanted to get out of, like we talked about,
yeah,
wanted to get out of Illinois, right?
Sure.
The weather and all that. So my aunt was in the Navy, and she was like, look, come out here. So that was like late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, lived there for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, and then came back, stayed for a couple years, and then there again, we picked up and moved and went to the Virginia, D.C. area for a while.
Do you have a lot of memories from Hawaii when you were younger, or?
I do. Yeah, it was good. It was good and bad. It was a love-hate thing.
Sure. I've never been. So. No.
Yeah, it was good, but then it was rough. Very rough. The locals do not like.
No, new people.
They don't like mainlanders.
Okay.
I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot of them don't like it. As a matter of fact, I was called first time I ever was called a haole.
You had to look it up. What is this? Right?
It's equivalent to a honky.
Yeah.
And
that's funny.
Yeah, it was rough though, man. So I was constantly getting
picked on
in fights, man.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and I was getting my ass kicked all the time, every other day.
Really?
And maybe it's not a fair, I don't know how it is now, but it was rough.
Wow.
Which is odd because we'll probably get into this, but I was bullied before I went to Hawaii.
So living here, growing up, you were dealing with that.
I was, man. So you talk about jumping from the frying pan to the fire. I thought we're out of here. This is good.
Woohoo, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Safe.
Yep.
So are they like that with tourists too? Or just people?
I was pretty young, so I don't know exactly how that dynamic worked.
Okay.
I just know that if you were Japanese or Caucasian, Japanese got it worse.
Really?
Yeah, because they tend to buy a lot of the Japanese, or people with money buy up a lot of the land there, so they have a real bone to pick with them.
Sure. So you're the kid; it's your fault, right? I mean, somehow they take it out on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You just looked at them wrong, and that was enough for them to. Yeah, so it was a rough year for me, but looking back, I mean, it was what a learning experience. Oh yeah,
it toughened you up quite a bit, huh?
It did, absolutely. It toughened me up. Yeah, that was a game changer because when I moved back, of course, I guess I don't know. We need to talk about how I was bullied prior to going there, but I that was rough too.
Yeah.
And but nothing like Hawaii though.
Yeah. Absolutely. What was it like? I mean, starting from an early age, like how young were you? I mean,
that's a good question. I don't recall. I don't know, maybe second, third grade.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was, I hate, I don't like the whole victim thing. I don't like acting that way, but I don't know why it was me. I'm not saying it was only me, but I definitely that was a rough few years in grade school. There was just like 3 or 4 guys.
Really?
And I think what it was is if one starts on you.
Oh yeah, then it's easy to jump in, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, just getting pounded on, and my mother would constantly go to the principal, and we try to fix it, but it would go away for a little bit and then come back.
Yeah.
And so it was rough. And like I said, my mother was like, "We're out of here." We're not because of that only, but just wanted to kind of expand our horizons. And come on, it's Hawaii.
Yeah,
right?
Who wouldn't want to try it at least? Right?
I mean, when I was growing up at that time, when we were going, Magnum PI.
Oh, hello, yeah.
So we just moved out there. My mom had a good experience out there. Mine wasn't so pleasant. Of course, in the summertime or when school wasn't in session. Yeah, it was what you think it is.
Yeah.
And boogie boarding and the beach and all the things that it has to offer. The scenery, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So,
it looks like it in pictures anyways.
It is.
I want to go.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be like a good spot for like a destination wedding. Just you and your wife just go. Don't invite anyone else. Just disappear and get married. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We kind of did that, me and my wife. I mean, we didn't go to Hawaii, but we went to Jamaica.
Yeah. It ends up being cheaper than throwing like a big bash here in town. And honestly, like it's probably more fun too that way.
It is. Yeah, we and it's less stressful.
Yeah.
Which is
you don't have to worry about impressing everyone. Just go, man, and enjoy your time. It's like your honeymoon and your wedding all in one too. It's for me, man. I'm the same way. Like that's what we're talking about. Like I know if Jackie's parents are listening, we have talked about this a couple of times of where we're gonna do it, and a destination wedding would be a lot of fun and probably end up being cheaper, and so why wouldn't you? Right,
I think it could be an easy sell for a lot of people too, because. I mean, it's for them. It's a vacation plus a celebration of their friends. So it's we had like 20 people that came with us.
Holy cow, that's awesome.
That was for us, yeah.
Yeah,
so, for sure.
That's cool. So I imagine the bullying might have had something to do with you starting into martial arts, or at least watching martial arts shows. Or
you know what? I don't want to overcomplicate this, but I would say that has a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. Not wanting to feel the way I did about it, absolutely. Feeling, I don't want to, look, I don't know if I was terrified, but I was scared to go to school. There was no doubt at times.
I couldn't see that, because now I feel like anyone said something to you, you just destroy them.
Well, I feel more confident, you know, but it takes more than words now,
sure.
in my life, and at my age. But, I think that had a lot to do with it, getting involved in martial arts. I'll tell you what, like you and I talked about movies, being a product of the 70s. I mean, the cartoons were violent back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now I'm not going to say it's exactly that, because everybody would have done martial arts if it was just that. But the old original Spider-Mans,
sure,
they were very violent, man. If you ever watched them, Speed
Batman,
Racer,
Bang Pow,
right?
Adam West,
yeah, absolutely, yeah, and Speed Racer and. I know you had Shane on the podcast.
Yeah.
Kung Fu Theater was a big deal, man. So it was just constantly, those type of shows. That was one. I think the culture, like I said, it was, you had movies. I was being bullied, and the culture was weird. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not down any other generation, but I think ours was definitely grittier.
Sure.
That type of thing, and. So I think a combination of all that. I think the bullying for sure. My parents, I think genetics. My mom's a very assertive woman. Yeah. And my dad was a scrapper up into his adulthood, for better or worse. I'm just being honest.
Sure.
And I think all those combined, I don't do very well with people trying to get one over on me.
No, it's not a good feeling, right? What age did you actually get to start formally training?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was about. It was off and on, but I remember like 12 years old.
And what was the first martial art?
Karate.
Karate.
Yeah.
I did it too, man.
Yeah.
I made it to brown belt.
yeah, it was karate. The neighbor across the street was a black belt. Mm-hmm. So it was one of those. We had my dad. Get you guys some lessons, and we did that for a little bit. A lot of jumping around. A lot of jumping around throughout the years. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And
I thought you meant in karate.
Yeah,
katas and stuff too.
No, that too. Yeah, but no, there was a lot of jumping around with that. Not a lot of consistency is what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
With it, but I always would practice it. I get the Black Belt magazine, and they'd have the they'd have the kata forms, and I have it folded over, and doing my thing, or the books.
You memorize this series of moves and blocks. And
absolutely.
Yep.
I would do it all. Yeah, shadow box constantly. I was always into that. And I'd always fantasize about things like being picked on and taking care of business.
Beating up 5 attackers. Or
well, right? Again, if you look at all the movies I watched, Karate Kid was in '82.
Yeah,
that was huge. I mean, I think that says it all right there.
Daniel Son.
Yeah, well, that changed the industry too.
Oh, it blew up, right?
Did.
I mean, it was everywhere.
It did for better and worse.
I was just gonna say, honest, maybe I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it was out there, man, and people were spending money on. I mean, at the worst case scenario, at least they were exercising. Let's just say. Let's say the technique was garbage or whatever. Mm-hmm. At least they're moving around. That's good.
Yeah. I agree.
But now I think there's been proven a few better. What would I say? Systems of self-defense. Than karate.
I think when the UFC came around, our eyes were open.
Yeah, I mean there's still karate guys. Lyoto Machida. I mean, he's still an animal, but I wouldn't want to fight him. But I mean, for the most part,
I think it's the way you train it. I mean, I think when it became a business. A lot of people softened it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Get all the moms in, get all them, all the kids, all the money.
Yeah. How long does it take to get a black belt? We'll get it. We'll get you in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, throw me a few more bucks, and we could probably make it happen a little quicker.
It's unfortunate, and which I hope jiu-jitsu
doesn't go.
It probably will someday. I think we're already seeing it a little bit of watering down, but I'm hoping. That it maintains its integrity for sure.
Yeah, I hope so too, because it's an embarrassment when you see someone that, like, have you seen any of those fake black belt videos and they're just getting destroyed by a real black belt, or any of those fail videos on YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's embarrassing. You shouldn't even be wearing that.
I agree.
Point. Yeah,
I agree. We have a saying. It's not mine, but it's the mat never lies.
Yeah, exactly.
You can almost tell when somebody gets a hold of you. You go, okay.
Oh yeah, he's legit, or okay.
Yeah,
wrong color belt. But so when did you make the switch to grappling, jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, well, it was '93. I moved back home, and I think I'd been home for a week at the time. It was November, Shane and I was like, I was like, Shane, did you see the pay-per-view commercial?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah. I mean, it was crazy. My heart was pounding just watching the commercial. There was no YouTube and all that.
No.
And you're totally seeing all these. He's like, yeah. I go, let's go. Let's watch it. So we went to, I think he told you, it was Troy Hollywood Hughes, his home. He had the pay-per-view. And that changed my life forever from that point on.
Boom. You found a gym and started training?
Well, that was the difficult part.
Okay.
What I found was VHS tapes.
No, so you got a basement and
the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Action videos. I got those, and then I think they had a fundamental series, and I got them. And I mean, you talk about a kid, open them up and slide it in. It couldn't go in fast enough.
Yeah.
And just working it over and over again. And trying to find people to,
bodies. It's hard to find bodies sometimes.
Yeah, especially back then.
Yeah.
So, my girlfriend at the time, she was cool about, being the dummy, the grappling dummy. Excuse me. So being the grappling dummy, and that went on for some time. And then you would hear through the grapevine, right? Like we talked about, hey, so and so's into that. So I'd get contact information,
give me his phone number, email, whatever. I got to get hold of him.
Absolutely. And again, back then there wasn't emails that I recall.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe late 90s or something for that.
Yeah. So this is early 90s. So we'd get all kinds of, people's names, and we'd find out some guy in Cicero, Illinois was he had trained at the Gracie Academy in Torrance for 2 months. I would literally drive.
Let's pick his brain.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
I would drive there, and there would be times when it was like finding Bigfoot. It was somebody that they think that was a blue belt. So I'd be in North Chicago because my buddy says he's here, and it was just, I was obsessed.
It's a mythical creature, right?
It was back then. Well, back near, if you were a blue belt,
you might as well have been a black belt around here, right?
Absolutely. I couldn't get enough. And then, so living in Belvedere, I was constantly driving to Chicago.
Yeah.
To train, what's his name? Bob Shermer. I mean, he was one of the first guys to do the Battle of the Masters.
Okay.
That's where they fought like UFC.
Mm-hmm.
But the fence wasn't rubber coated. It was actually a fence.
Oh yeah, cut your back up.
Oh yeah, it was brutal. I mean, constantly just getting information where I could, training where I could, and that went on for several years up until '97, and then I met Jeff Curran for the first time.
Oh, nice.
He was a 19-year-old blue belt, and I went there for a week. They had the gi on. I didn't want the gi.
You don't want to wear those pajamas.
Absolutely not.
Ugh, what are you guys wearing?
Yeah, that I did that, and then a lot of floating and training on my own, and then 2000, I wanted to learn. I wanted to go formal jiu-jitsu training, and it was under a guy named Bruce Harvard, Hasu Hamdawi. He's still in the area. Guy knew his stuff. I mean, he had a kind of a shaky reputation. I didn't know that at the time, but I stayed with him for about a year, and then walked away for whatever reason for a couple of years, and then I wanted to get back into it. And my buddy, who I was training with at Asus, he was a cop. He was training with Jeff Curran, so Jeff Curran's name got brought back. Of course, at the time, I thought, he wasn't authentic enough.
Sure,
I had my perspective on that, so I didn't really want to do it, but I said, okay, I'll give him a shot. And I've been with him ever since.
Yeah. So a little in the beginning, a little bit of kind of feeling out, and especially since back then, like you said, it was so fresh. You don't know who to trust or who to take information from, or at that point, there's no YouTube to say, or no videos to say, does this guy know what he's doing, or is he just feeding me a bunch of crap and taking my money?
Yeah. So we went to a few dojos, and then people would talk about this or that person. I'd write their names down, and how do you get a hold of them? And a lot of that went on for several years.
Yeah,
for sure.
Man, that's crazy.
But the one thing I didn't tell you about before I started training jiu-jitsu, it was like '94. I had the bright idea to join Lion's Den, Ken Shamrock's Lion's Den.
Nice.
So I tried to get a hold of him. It took like a month to get a hold of him. Again, he didn't go by Ken Shamrock. It was Wayne Shamrock.
Oh.
So I only knew him from the first UFC.
Yeah.
So I was just impressed with the guy.
What
good-looking guy, built.
Yeah, he was jacked. Yeah.
He was. And he hit Patrick Smith with whatever. I didn't know what it was. It was a heel hook.
Yeah.
But I didn't know at that time. And he just was the epitome of what a warrior looked like.
Yeah.
And so I tried to get a hold of him. I was lost, man. In the 90s, I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I thought, I'm gonna seek this guy out. So I finally got a hold of him. I asked his wife. He wasn't in town at the time. He was fighting professionally in Japan.
Ken Shamrock.
Yes,
yeah.
That was his job. It was the Pancras organization. Before that, he was doing like work. They call it work, which is like WWE type.
Mm-hmm. Professional wrestling or something.
So I talked to his wife. I said, look, does he train people? That's all I said.
Yeah, can I?
She goes, yeah, he does. Who is this? Type of thing. I told her who I was, and she says, oh, he'll be back in town soon. I'll have him give you a call. He did. He called me. I remember the day I was waiting by the landline, like this.
Yeah, no cell phone.
No cell phones. I was waiting, and I told him who I was, and I think at the time I was weighing 270 pounds. Ooh. So I gave him my elevator pitch why he should choose me to come out there, not knowing what the process was.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. Anyway, so we set up a time. I flew out there the first time, nervous as can be. Hadn't prepared for it at all, for what was about to come. So he didn't tell me. So we were at the airport, and Bob, I think he's passed away since then. His father, his adopted father, picked me up at the airport. And he picked me up, and then Jason DeLucia. I don't know if you know that name.
Mm-mm.
Did you ever see any of the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in actions?
No.
Did you ever see any of the earlier UFCs?
Yeah.
He was in it. I mean, he was in actually one of the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in actions. He was a guy from Boston. He had the Boston accent. Decent guy. And we were picking him up. He had his first fight in Japan.
Wow.
He had fought in the UFC. And didn't do very well, and and then Ken was there and picked Jason up, and anyway, so trained Jason for a little bit. Jason flew to Japan, won his first match in the Pancrase organization. That wasn't MMA back then.
No,
if you remember, it was a lot. You could palm to the face, punch the body kick, and all that, and you had to wear Speedos. So. Yeah, I'll get to that. So no, he picked me up and then picked Jason Delucia up, and he wasn't the warmest, nicest guy.
His dad?
No,
or Ken.
Bob was. Bob was awesome.
Okay.
Jason, I'm talking about Jason Delucia.
Okay. Yeah.
So he picked us up, and he had knee barred one of the original founders of it, Funaki. So it was a big day for him. And so anyways, we got there, and that's when I met Frank Shamrock. That was the first time I met him.
Wow.
Yeah, he had just gotten out of prison.
For what?
I don't know for sure, but I think he was dealing. He was a dealer. He was, the guy. Yeah, I mean, he's changed his life around obviously since then. I think he's talked about that anyway. Yeah. So I remember,
a smaller guy too, right?
He is.
Yeah.
Well built. An athlete. Had he was real gritty dude.
Yeah,
and,
he was.
Have to be with his upbringing, and he was adopted by Bob. As well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it was just three of us in an apartment. There was no furniture in there. Yeah. And I remember hanging out there for a little bit. Ken finally came to see me and introduced himself officially and all that. And he said, "Okay, tomorrow's the big day." I go, "Okay." By the way, and he wasn't going to tell me. Yeah. Apparently. So I asked him. I said, "What we're gonna, what's the big day?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He goes, "Yeah, we're gonna do an initiation." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like that. So my heart was just slamming.
Like you just joined a fraternity or something?
We're a gang. It was more like a gang. And that's what it was almost. It was like I had to get jumped in.
What?
And, that's my look. That's what it was. So again, all three of us are in the apartment. We're hanging out. Everything was fine. We're friendly. Once it was told that Frank was going to be the one to initiate me, he was not very friendly anymore.
Yeah. It's like, oh, by the way, tomorrow I have to kick your ass.
It was that way. I was just nervous. I'm feeling it now.
I'm going home. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, I'm in California at the time, so I'm stuck there, and I'm trying to process this, like what's going down, because I don't know if it's UFC. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, at the time, right? I mean, because did you go there to train jiu-jitsu or just to train MMA altogether? Or what?
No, it wasn't MMA back then. No, it was grappling. Back then it was just grappling. Jiu-jitsu, grappling, chokeholds.
Sure.
That's
just submission, grappling, or whatever.
But the thought of making a living doing pancration fighting or the Pancrase organization for a living, that was very appealing. And that's how my life was been before that. I don't begrudge anybody that's got a job. I respect that. I just didn't want a job.
Yeah.
I didn't want a job, Joey.
You want to do something different.
I want to do something exciting. I wanted to wake up every day and, which is what I have now. But at the time, that was one of the things that I tried was, I'm going to try the Pancrase, because repoing cars wasn't enough for me. No, I tried that too. So, I just wanted something exciting. And I gave him a call, and like I said, we did all that. So the day of we do this, he's getting taped up, and no one was really paying a lot of attention to me at the time. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm just nervous. I can't even begin to tell you, man. Like, I don't know what's going on. I felt like I was by myself.
Yeah.
He literally shut the shades and locked the door. Now I don't know if he did that to fuck with me,
to heighten it up. Yeah,
but he did.
Suspense. Yeah,
he did. And there was a camera, so there's a recording of it somewhere.
Oh, jeez.
And he goes, "Okay, so now we're in this ring. There was no cage. It was a ring, because that's what the Pancrase organization did. It was a ring."
Yeah.
He goes, "All right, here's the deal." And so Frank's not even listening to him. Now remember, Frank's is his adopted. They're
brothers. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He is the second coming of Ken. Ken was huge in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am, chubby dude, and I'm in the ring, and he goes, "All right."
Some experience though. You're watching VHS and stuff.
Yeah. Everything was like a first gear training, So here he is. He's ripped.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just he had been with Ken for over a year, and everything that Ken, and here I am going, "Fuck me."
Yeah, here goes.
And Ken goes, "All right, here's the deal. We're gonna do the Pancras rules. There's no punch in the face, but there's this, that, and the other. Kick, knee, choke out. He goes, by the way, there's no tapping. I go, for the chokes. I go, excuse me? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, there's no tapping. So they want to test you. What he wanted to know was, you're going to get your ass kicked. He expected it. Mm-hmm. He goes, and it's a 20-minute match. I had 20 minutes to last. If I didn't last 20 minutes, or maybe if I knocked him out, because I said, well, what if I don't know why I said what I said. It probably didn't help. I go, well, what if I knock him out? And I wasn't trying to be a smart ass. He goes, then it's over. I don't know. I didn't have any comfort in that. I looked at Frank when I said that. He looked at me and was like, oh, okay. He's like that. He started slapping himself. And I'm like, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, JK.
All right. So here we go, man. It was on, and we battled, and I was tired after 5 minutes. The adrenaline dump kicked in. I felt like I was throwing marshmallows. I was, Joey. I'm telling you. And he choked me out twice, and they revived me, and I'm just kind of like sitting there, and they go, do you want to continue? That's what they want to know. And I didn't know at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, the conversation I had with him wasn't actually prior, it was afterwards. Because I asked him, why we do all this? Yeah. I want to know if you had what it took.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that at the time. So he goes, do you want to continue? And I don't know what was going on. Like, yes. I got back up, bounced off the ring ropes.
You look like a bobblehead getting thrown around out there.
So he was just going to town. He was slapping me all around, man. And I was trying to get him back. And I remember catching him. I finally got one in. Whack! I palmed him right in the face. And that gave me, there was a little confidence builder.
Yeah.
So I went after him. And I had it, man. And, anyway, we went at it for 20 minutes. I'm lumped up, and the next 4 hours were like calisthenics. They called them 500s. Mm-hmm. And it was a series of moves and things I had to do. It took me 4 hours. I wasn't off the hook yet. And I remember Ken taking Frank out, and it was actually like a little strip mall where they were at.
Yeah.
And I remember him taking him out, and I could hear him say, how could you let that fat fuck
hit
you and last? It was weird, man. I was taken back by that.
So you're almost thinking like, did they just fly guys out here to kick their ass and fly them back, or
it's
something?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both. And he said that, and I was like, did I just hear that?
Yeah.
But I was too lumped up, and it was too surreal. It was weird. That whole experience, what I went through. And I just kept going. I remember Jason DeLucia, he knew I heard it. And, he just kept, just keep going, with that Boston accent, just keep going like that. And I was doing back bends. I kept landing on my neck. And I remember Frank or Ken going, don't land on your neck. I'm like, I've never done a, what do you call it?
Like a gymnast back
No,
thing,
like the wrestling, the back bridge.
Oh, yeah.
I was doing that. I kept landing, and I just kept going. I was trashed for 2 or 3 days.
Jeez.
For 2 or 3 days, but it was over. And there was a moment there, like I did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now what, right?
Yeah.
I did it.
I did it. So now what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So back then, I was very undisciplined.
Yeah.
I was lost, I told you, and I didn't know if that's what I wanted to do. It was a weird. It was one of the bigger regrets.
So you got initiated, and then what is next? What did you do next?
Yeah. So he said to me, he goes, all right, here's the deal. He goes, here's the deal. I go, okay. He goes, you made it. He goes, you're too big, as you can see, and you know what we wear. I go, yeah, I got to fit in those. He goes, you got to fit in those, which were Speedos. I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
I go, okay, and he goes, so I'm gonna put you with. His name was Scott. I forgot his last name. He was a former, Oakland Raider.
Oh, geez.
He had blown his knees out.
So professional football player.
Yeah, but he was Ken's student for years before, and he was he would fight in Japan. He goes, I'm going to put you with him, and you're going to go on a diet. And he goes, because it's not just good enough that you could. Let's say he goes, I could care less how well you perform. He goes, you got to look good. You got to be marketable.
You got to look the part. Yeah,
you do. And I'm looking at you. Look at Ken. You look at Frank and all these other guys. I'm not the guy. I look like Big Country.
Yeah, they're
the fighter Big Country.
Yeah, Roy Nelson. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I look like at the time. And so, honestly, it wasn't that. It was just it was the lack of discipline in my life leading up to it, and I was having second thoughts, and I remember Scott telling me, just stick it out, man, stick it out. But I wasn't sure. It wasn't hard. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be just because that's how I was in my life at the time. It was start it but not finish it type thing.
Yeah, dabble and
it was that. Maybe I got what I needed out of it, at the time. So anyways, went back home, went back to my bouncing gig, and trying to pick up where I could to train and just trying to find my place in life,
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward, 97 comes around. I thought my buddy at the time was like, man, I would love to do that. And we just started talking about it, and I felt there was a regret there. And I went back out.
Oh, no. Round two?
Round two. But Ken said to me, he goes, you don't have to. Well, here's what led me to go out there. There was a couple things. One, we had met a guy that was a bodyguard to the stars. Mm-hmm. Remember, I wanted to have that a life worth living type job.
Yeah.
And he had said to me, we were in Chicago, when I was floating around, he goes, I think you'd be a really good bodyguard to the stars. Of course, I thought you had to be an ex-Secret Service agent.
Right. Marine.
Yeah, exactly. Some special ops or, operator.
Green Beret.
No, that wasn't the case. It's those, who you know. Anyway, so I remember he was having this conversation with me and a buddy of mine, and he was out in LA. And he goes, come out. If you come out, I'll get you a job. And I thought, oh, wow.
Deal. Yeah.
So while I was out there, I thought, I remember thinking, the whole Ken Shamrock experience. And at that time, Ken was blowing up. Lion's Den was blowing up, at the time.
Was he in the UFC then? Because who was 97?
Ken?
Yeah.
Ken was he was in the first one in 93.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Right?
So in 97, he was established. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
He had kind of blown up. And
Frank too by then? Or no?
I don't know if he was. I know he was fighting for the Pancreas organization then, because he was the king of Pancreas. He was building his name and brand in Japan.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think he might have had I don't know. I don't recall that, but I know he was fighting in Japan. But Ken had gotten offers for movies and all that, and just because of, again, how he looked, he was the real deal.
Professional wrestling, yeah. He was big then.
So he was blowing up, and then I thought, maybe I'll try this again. So me and my buddy decided that, we would, a week prior, we started running, jogging. Of course, Ken told me at the time, because I didn't jerk him around, there had been guys that jerked him around in the past. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is they would, be there for 6 months, and they had, whatever, they had a drug problem or whatever. Yeah. They just didn't follow through. Mm-hmm. Because I was so quick about my decision not to do it. He says, if you ever want to come back, you won't have to initiate again. Well, I thought, wow. I thought, hey, while I'm out there, let's see if that works out.
Yeah.
So I call him up. I said, yeah, I'd like to come by and, do this again. And he goes, okay. And okay. So we made it a trip. So me and my buddy hopped into his Jeep, and we drove all the way to Northern California. First stop, right? And just kind of check it out and see if, because if the bodyguard gig didn't work out, I'd do this.
Yeah.
So, So we drove out there, and I get out there, and Ken goes, yeah, you're going to have to initiate again. And I'm like, but I was like, whoa, Ken, you said I didn't have to, I didn't have to do that. He goes, yeah, I got too much going on. Well, I remember when I was out there at the time, there was only 4 of us in the early, 93 in the Lion's Den. 5, excuse me. And he said it's changed, and it had, because I remember going to his gym, and there was just tons of people.
Yeah. So
yeah, round 2.
Ugh.
And he goes, okay, we've decided your friend's going to fight Jerry Bolander. I said, okay. And he goes, you're going to fight Pete Williams. Pete Williams is the guy that kicked Mark Coleman in the head in UFC. I don't know if do you ever see that fight?
I think so.
Oh, he kicked him right in the face, man, and dropped him. So Pete hadn't fought then. And I knew what I was in for. I knew what the rules were. I wasn't as nervous, but I certainly wasn't prepared, just like the first time, But that was par for the course of my life at the time. So he goes, okay. He goes, Tommy, you remember, you know the drill, right? I go, anything changed since then? He goes, nope, nothing's changed. I go, okay. So what I did was, Joey, I backed myself up to the wall. It wasn't in the cage or the ring. I backed myself literally up against the wall, right? And I said, oh, here we go. And we went at it. And I did not move because I was afraid I was just like the first time. The first time I didn't know, but I knew I was going to get tired. And he started throwing punches at me because he was trying to take me down, and he couldn't take me down. And time was ticking. And it was on him. Just like Frank, it's on you.
It's on him to beat you. You don't have to beat him.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He has to beat me.
Yeah, it's like when a champ defends his title. Like pretty much the contender has to beat him, has to take the belt for the most part.
It was expected of him.
Yeah.
And you could see the frustration. So he started left hooking me. And I remember Ken going, Pete, please don't hit him and don't punch him. He just was calm about it. I'm getting,
you can't really stand.
So I knew what to do. Finally, he just out of fatigue, he pulls me off. Now now they're telling him, don't fight him on the wall, pull him off the wall. And I'm battling, I'm doing the underhooks thing, and I'm just trying to last because I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to load on him, right? Because I kept asking what the time was, and they wouldn't say. I was just trying to be smart about it,
Just save your energy.
Yes, because I trust me, I was hot. He had popped me a few times, and I was like, okay, but I was smart enough to know, if I don't finish him, I'm going to get finished.
Yeah.
So I was waiting. Give me 2 minutes, and I was already wheezing. So anyway, he pulls me off. He finally takes me down and drops an elbow, right on my nose. I'm swallowing blood.
Yuck.
And I'm hot, man. I mean, and I'm like gasping for air. I didn't quit because I know not to quit. I'm gasping. Ken stops. I go, I didn't quit. I'm like that. I go, hey, I didn't quit, like that. And we go at it, and because he goes, no, we're done. I go, no, I didn't quit, Ken. I'm like, come on, man. Like that. So they let it go, and I didn't know what time it was. And he hits me again with an elbow, which he wasn't supposed to. Yeah. And I spit in his face. I just hocked a blood splatter all over him, man. I was hot.
Yeah, at that point.
Not just because of that, because he was dominating me.
Yeah, and he's doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing.
Because he was just trying to finish it. He sees this, again, a little thick.
Thicker than a Snickers.
So, anyway, he stops it again, and I didn't quit. And I go, come on, what was the time? And it was like 18 minutes and something. And he goes, he goes, you made it. Or I had to kind of talk him into it. I was like, Ken, I didn't quit, And he goes, all right, you made it. I'm a little disappointed in saying this, but that was such a long time ago. I've learned so much about myself since then, and I can, I didn't make. I only stayed out there for a month.
Yeah,
I did it again. It was just that, that
you just wanted to go get your ass kicked or something.
No, I know. It would seem that way, Joey. It was just a lack of focus and discipline in my life at that time, and I think I was just grasping for straws. I just wanted something that was, fulfill me, and I didn't know what it took to do that. I didn't realize that, there's going to be some struggle. I didn't understand that concept of anything worth having is going to be probably
very hard to get.
It's going to be tough, and tedious, and I didn't understand that. And so I stayed out there for a little bit, and I trained with them and did my thing. And I had met a girl prior to leaving out there. No, not that time. I just came back home, and I just realized, I didn't have it mentally what it took. And that's my story about that, man. So
man, that's crazy. Yeah. I get that though. I mean, that's happened to anybody. I've done that myself with with things too. You're like balls deep, or you throttle in 100%, and then you're like, I'm burned out. And then you're like, I kind of missed that. I want to do that again.
Yeah.
Or, it happens, and then hopefully that passion catches and stays with you, right? I mean, eventually it happened with you.
I don't know. That whole thing with hoping.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like I said, I think when it comes to self-improvement or anything, again, worth having, we'll talk about self-improvement in that regard. We romanticize the end goal, the end. I was romanticizing having a six-pack.
Yeah. But then what, right?
Yeah. Flying, jet setting. What do you do for a living? Well, I fight in Japan.
Yeah.
Those are the things I thought about. Whereas, and having my hand in victory and, knee barring somebody, whatever I was going through at the time, and that life, I didn't understand the middle part. And that's what, I mean?
That's where you spend most of your time.
That's
too,
where, right?
Yeah.
And that was the tedious part. And that was, that's what, like, again, it was every day was tough, even when I was there for that month. And, so I didn't understand those lessons till later on in life. So, it was one of those big regrets. It was a learning experience. And, that's, like I said, that's that was the end of that. That was the end of that chapter in my life for that. So
that was it for fighting. So then after that, you started training strictly jiu-jitsu then?
Yeah.
When you met Jeff, or
no, it was a Sue.
Okay,
yeah,
that's right.
2000. I think it was 2000.
You
I
said,
met
I'm
Sue.
done getting punched and kicked in the face.
I think at that time it was gaps. I love martial arts and I love jiu-jitsu. I love the idea of it, and I thought, man, I realized time was ticking in my life, and so I decided to, let's give it a go here. So somebody had told me about this guy. He was in Carpentersville, and I thought, okay, let's do it. And I started training and took it very seriously. I mean, I was there every night and training on the sides and all that, and I did that for a year. And then my default mode, my default mode kind of came back again, and I stopped for 2 years. And then about 2004, I would say. Yeah, 2004. I met Jeff again, and we just kind of reconnected, and I was with him ever since.
Was he a purple belt then in 2004?
I think he was I think he was a 4-stripe purple.
Okay.
On his way to getting a brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were still, technically
I was
a white belt. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a white belt. And then I was with him for like 6 months, and I tested for my blue.
Yeah, when you had years of experience.
Yeah, off and on, right?
Yeah.
No formal, just putzing around type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I finally got my blue belt. And I think for the first 2 years, because of I worked at Chrysler. I was working part-time out there. And some odd jobs here and there. My wife, my girlfriend at the time, I asked her, I said, would you allow me to train full time? She goes, what's the end game? I go, I don't know. I just want to be good at something. I just said that to her. I go, I just want to be good at something. I love this, and I just want to be good at something. She goes, let's give it a shot. So everything I made went to either that and paying the bills, my portion of it. I mean, there was no savings or nothing. And I completely immersed myself for 2 years, Joey. I mean, I was
2-a-days pretty much.
There was.
Yeah.
I had this beat up purple neon, ended up having 400-something thousand miles on it. I only put $1,000 into it.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Dodge Neon.
Yeah,
huh?
right.
Wow.
The floorboards where my feet were, there was actually a hole there. And
so you just Fred Flintstone.
I did almost, yeah. So I just did that for a while, and I did some tournaments, but I just trained and trained. I just loved it.
Just love learning the art.
I did, man. It just everything that it kind of represented. That back then it was, the jiu-jitsu lifestyle was talked about back then.
Oh yeah,
and it was cool. So to watch my instructor Jeff, he's young too, especially back then. He had this big 10,000 square foot facility, and I just saw his life. He taught jiu-jitsu, he trained it, and I remember because I would go in during the day, and he was asking people, hey, you want to go get sushi? I remember there being a beautiful day out. Right, it was a beautiful spring day, and the sun was shining in, and we're training jiu-jitsu, and he had these green and blue mats. It was like we were training on the beach, and that was his life.
Yeah, his schedule was amazing.
It
right?
was, man.
Yeah.
Well, what I thought of it was, there's again that perception, right?
There's a lot behind the scenes.
There
right?
was, yeah, there is. I know now, and I remember he's like, yeah, he was trying to figure out where he was going to go and have sushi. Because after he was going to have sushi, hang out with the guys.
First world problems.
Right? and then he was going to come back and do it all over again that night. And I was just like, that's the life.
Yeah.
That's
what I want right there.
And I knew that's where I was going.
You decided you needed your own academy too eventually?
What's that?
Is that when you decided you needed your own academy too?
I wanted it, yeah. I mean, he had asked me a few times. I remember him calling me up. It was such an honor for him to go, Of course, maybe I was all that he had at the time. He'd call me up and go, hey, can you take over class? And I'd be like, well, absolutely.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I got it. I got it covered. I mean, it was such an honor for him to ask me to teach. And so that went on, off and on. And I knew at that point that the academy thing was on the horizon. Somewhere, I was a blue belt, almost purple. I knew that eventually that would be the direction I would go, for sure.
Yeah, and that's a kind of a good way to do it too, because you're getting the experience teaching under someone else, so you have someone that can correct you and reinforce that. And then when you do, years later, had your own academy, you've got plenty of experience. So you're not just boom, like I got my own gym, now what?
No. I just followed his lead.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I followed his lead. He was and he still is such a technical jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Mhm.
Very technical. I mean, he's on the smaller side, and most of the smaller jiu-jitsu guys are very technical.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have to be because they can't muscle everything,
Absolutely.
Too. Yep.
But I vowed, being a bigger guy, that I would carry that on,
Mm-hmm.
because I also knew that being a bigger guy, being technical,
Yeah, it's
now,
real dangerous,
right? So you're even more dangerous for sure. So so I just wanted to keep going with that, and I finally got an offer. Jim McKenzie, he's my student now. At the time, Rockford Kickboxing and Jiu-Jitsu.
I remember that on Alpine, right?
Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I went into a couple classes there, but I was not quite ready to sign up. I think Cal was training there, and he he choked me out like my first time coming in there. I was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me, but because I'm thinking everybody in there is like on his level, and at the time he was probably one of the more elite. Athletes.
He was, well, it depends. His wrestling carried him through.
Yeah,
I remember because I brought him into it. I remember my son was doing kids wrestling,
mm-hmm.
and I remember seeing all the banners.
Yeah, Cal Ferry.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was on
Harlem everywhere,
right?
Yep.
He was awesome. High school wrestler.
I just remember his front headlock. I was like, oh man, he got a death squeeze on me right now. I am. I don't know if I want to come back.
He was fat, and he attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? He was a 2-3 sport athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't his only thing, and he was that successful at wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I asked him. I go, hey, you ever thought about MMA? And he smiled at me because you could tell he had thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we had brought him back to the academy back then, and I think I don't know how many fights he had, but
he had some pro fights, right?
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
Were they? Yeah, they might have been pro.
Mm-hmm.
I know his last fight he lost against UFC Ricardo Lamas.
Oh yeah,
he had lost to him.
Name.
He was taken. I mean, actually, the IFL. Do you remember the IFL?
I don't think so.
It's when they tried to make an MMA team. Each state had their own city.
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Okay, yep.
So they were having tryouts, and Cal wanted to go
for Illinois or something.
Yeah, I forgot what. I think it was Iowa or something.
Right,
Chicago Red Bears. I forgot who it was, but Cal went there, and he took it to Ricardo, and so he, Yeah. Anyways, that was his last fight. He ended up losing that fight, but he just didn't prepare. He thought that Ricardo was going to bring the same thing he did for those tryouts.
Mm-hmm.
Ricardo took him very seriously.
Yeah.
So, but that, I mean, Cal, he was on a roll for a while. What a great experience.
Oh, dude,
for him.
And a guy like that's never lost. I mean, it's kind of harder to, to recover from too.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I remember he was heartbroken when he lost, but that was just his competitive nature.
Yeah, super competitive. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
yeah, that was awesome. So Rockford, that's where it all started, right? Right there in Alpine. Was that the first?
No, it was on State Street where the DeTulios.
Oh, okay.
That's where I was. Yeah, that
Dang,
little.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a purple belt then. Jim, who had his own business at the time, or he was on his own, decided to he asked me, he goes, would you like to take this over? And I thought, yeah. Well, they were paying, which wasn't the big thing for me. It was more, I was getting a little burned out driving to Crystal Lake twice a day. So
yeah,
I decided to take that one day on, and I did. And it was that was another pivotal point for me, because it was just such a rewarding thing. Now I felt like they were my students.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I did that for a little bit, and I remember asking Colin. He was one of the owners.
Mm-hmm.
He was more of the behind the scenes guy.
Yeah.
He didn't have any martial arts experience,
so he just kind of ran numbers.
And
all that. Yeah.
He did that, and I remember saying to him, because they had moved to Alpine at the time, I said, hey, look, I'm just letting you know now that I don't know when, but sometime soon, I'm going to do my own thing. And I just wanted you to know that. I want to be upfront with you.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, he respected that. He says, I hope you stay, but I understand that if that day comes. And about another 6 months went on, and I had asked him, I said, would you ever want to get rid of your end of the academy? And he looked at me. He goes, yes. I go, really? So he did. I paid him what he wanted, and I was 50% owner. And then Frank was the other owner. Unfortunately, his wife was ill, and he didn't want the responsibility because he wanted to focus on her and on her. And I ended up having the whole thing.
Yeah, wow.
So I thought Rockford Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing jiu-jitsu was a little generic,
Sure.
So I decided, it was core jiu-jitsu, core sports,
Core MMA, I
core,
remember.
it was all that. I was going through all that, and
Uh-huh.
I thought, core combat sports. It just, there's no rhyme or reason to it, my man.
Mhm.
It just kind of rang with me.
Sounded good.
Yeah,
and-
that's all it was, So
CCS.
that's it. Yeah, so started that. A lot of growing pains with that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot
Yeah,
of
I think
growing pains.
a lot of people don't understand how much that goes on behind the scenes too. I mean, you're out there teaching the class for an hour, and they think that's your whole day, or 2 hours. Or
That's
whatever.
what I thought it was. Remember
Yeah.
I told you?
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, let's go do sushi.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do sushi because I had to clean the place up. I had,
You gotta make phone calls. You gotta collect
do.
money. I mean,
All that.
you gotta keep the lights on.
Absolutely.
You gotta be able to afford that sushi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That end of it, I think you did a great job of actually making it, making it work. And
Thank you.
from where it was, because I've seen you were at Alpine. This is where I first saw you,
Yeah.
right? Were you at kind of behind Peak Fitness?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then where'd you go next? You went to the Sport Fusion next, or no, not Fusion, just the
It's changed names like 6 times.
yeah.
So yeah.
You went out to Love's Park for a while. Then you were out by the Speedway for a little while.
Yeah. The reason I went there is because the sports complex was
Yeah.
going under,
Oh, okay.
and I was nervous that I was going to come in there, not because of a lack of me paying my bills. I was
Just-
nervous just because I had heard rumors what was going on,
Yeah, the whole building.
Yeah.
And then
and I didn't want to have
your mats are gone or
no.
something.
So I just was a little proactive about it. I went and I shared a space with Olympic gold medalist Joe Williams,
Yeah.
a wrestler.
Yep.
Yeah, so I shared some space with him for a little bit, and then that was okay. And then I don't know, about a year later, maybe less than that,
I think you moved back, right?
I moved back.
Yeah,
Well, I got a
yeah.
phone call, and they said, "Look, we're under new management. You were always in great standing with us.
Mhm.
Why'd you leave?" Type thing. And I told him why, and he said, "Well, look, are you happy where you're at?" And I said, it depends.
Yeah.
And so they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I went back out there, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
So, what do you? I guess back then you had a lot of fighters, a lot of MMA guys.
Mhm.
I notice now you've kind of, I mean, you still have kickboxing, you still have striking, but I notice you've leaned more towards the grappling side too, jiu-jitsu.
I do.
How does that feel, coaching fighters versus coaching martial artists?
Yeah. Well, Joey, I'll be honest with you. This is how I do it now.
Mhm.
You have to be a martial artist
Yeah.
in order to do MMA with me.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I remember before that you'd have. I mean,
That's
obviously a long time ago, you take whatever. You have guys that want to fight.
Oh yeah. I had to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I really did. And plus, I really enjoyed that culture.
Yeah.
The cage fighting and them representing you, and they're a product of your coaching and all that. So I did, but along the way, it wasn't rewarding anymore.
Mhm.
Because a lot of guys would come in. It was something they wanted to try.
Yeah, I want to do a fight in 2 months from now.
Yeah.
And
I felt pressured. Also, when I bought Rockford Kickboxing Jiu-Jitsu, by itself, it didn't pay the bills.
Mm-mm.
What paid the bills was Rocktown Showdown. That came with the gym.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
now
now
I'm a promoter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what paid the bills. It was that. So when I would make money with Rocktown, I had to save it because I had to kick in an extra $5,000 because I didn't have enough in tuition.
Yeah.
So I was kind of forced to do it
Yeah.
in a sense because the walk-ins, the walk-ups at those shows in the beginning were good. But then when it became saturated in the area with local shows, now it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
If you got 50 walk-ups compared to hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
So now I was relying on fighters to sell tickets.
Yeah.
And that was just honestly, and now guys were like, well, they didn't want to train.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's fair to the fighters either. I think they should just focus on their fight, right? I mean, I know they need to sell tickets to help the promoter, but I feel like that's more stress on them, right? Kind of.
It is, but that was just the way it was, man.
Yeah.
And remember we talked about being disciplined, and they weren't disciplined. They were like I was prior, to owning the academy, because they just wanted they all they saw was their hand raised.
Yeah, I just want to win this fight real quick.
That's it. So they didn't want to train and all that, and it just became this thing that was getting out of control, man.
Yeah.
And I realized martial artists first, MMA fighter second.
Mhm.
And look, I sent a lot of people down the road.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, there was a lot of people that were.
They didn't want it that.
Yeah.
No, I just want to do it. And they would talk about my competitors, how they were willing to put them on sooner than later.
Mhm.
And I remember having just to eat it. Hey man, I think you ought to go there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that's where you should go, because that's short game thinking. I was thinking more long term.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well, I mean, how many MMA guys do you see in their 50s versus how many jiu-jitsu guys? I mean, there's that too.
Yeah. We were fortunate enough. Prior to it being mine totally, we had Ryan Stonich.
Yeah, he's a really good wrestler.
He was
MMA too, right?
MMA too, and even just a grappler. He was a finisher. I mean, but that was the first time we took somebody homegrown. Yes, he was a D1 wrestler, but he had other skill sets that we helped develop. Bryce was excellent with him, and Coach Sockwell, William Sockwell. I don't know if you know.
Boxing.
Yeah,
Yep.
they got his hands together, and his I had a hand in his submission game, and for sure, and he was just disciplined, man.
Yeah, D1 wrestler, you got to be,
right. But we were disciplined enough. We put this together for him, and he was just a great student. Cal, and some of the old Dirty Dozen type OGs, we'll call them back then. They were just so disciplined. We had such a good. I
remember Fernando being out there. Do you remember him?
Yeah. Actually, Fernando he was with me just recently. Yeah, he just came back. It was funny. Yeah,
I saw him at Exclusive not too long ago.
Did you?
Do you remember his brother Sergio?
I
do. Fought too MMA.
Yeah, he trained up in Milwaukee and fought in WC, and that's where Ryan fought.
Mm-hmm.
He fought in the WC. So we had a full. I mean, they flew us out to Vegas and got to
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was just what an experience. It was pretty cool.
Surreal. Yeah.
It is. Absolutely.
That Sergio was on the Tap Out Tour. Did you know that?
That's right.
Brother.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because Jeff had a guy, Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I remember that was going on.
Yeah, that was cool. But yeah, like you said, now with the way jiu-jitsu is blown up so much too, I mean, it's huge.
It is.
There's people out there, professional athletes that do jiu-jitsu only and can almost make a living on it.
Almost.
Yeah.
That's the 1%ers.
Yeah, I know. You're looking at like the Bouchechas or the Keenan Cornelius, all them, but
they make a lot of their money through sponsorships.
Yeah.
Keenan comes from a well-to-do. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's very talented. He's got his own thing going on. Mm-hmm. But he was well off.
Yeah, he didn't need the extra. But no, it's just crazy because it used to be people thought they could only make money in MMA. Now it looks like the way that jiu-jitsu is blowing up that people can start to maybe make a little bit, at least some of their money back.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's awesome. I like that it's blowing up, don't you? I mean,
absolutely.
It's so great, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I have one MMA fighter, and he's such a good dude. I mean, he's come such a long way. It's getting to the point now. Now I'm kind of saying this. I don't know if I can help him out anymore.
You just past your
maybe. I think what he needs is somebody that's a little bit more focused on that.
Yeah,
I still got his back. I mean, I will, but after him, if he, if we're gonna have that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Is anyone I know? Or no?
I don't know. I don't want to put him out there.
We won't drop it on the microphone.
But I mean, the people that know. But I just at this point feel like I'm doing him a disservice.
Yeah.
He's such, like I said, he's come a long way considering his background.
Mm-hmm.
He's come such a long way, and I feel like I did my job in terms of off the mat than I did on the mat.
The mental game's huge. Yeah, the mental game,
absolutely, or just being a responsible man.
Mm-hmm. That's huge too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just having. That's probably one of the best things about being an instructor is that you can be there for other people that kind of need that.
Joey, that was a unintended benefit.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Let me tell you something. You do influence people's lives.
Oh, big
good
time.
Good and bad. I mean, look, it goes both ways. But it's made me a better man.
Mm-hmm.
It really has.
Well, just like teaching makes you better at jiu-jitsu, right? All of it. Yeah. Helping people through their hard times or their life makes you better too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can kind of see things from a different lens, I guess it would be, right?
You do. I didn't at first. It's like we talked about prior to doing this. I thought I could. My nature is just to fix it. Just ask me.
I got all the answers.
Look at my belt. My belt's
black.
Just ask me. I got it. We'll figure it out. And I really, it's like I told you. I learned to be a better listener.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, an actual like not deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I talk to my students about being practicing. It's got to be deliberate. You know what I mean? Not just as passive. Same with listening. I've learned how to be a better listener, and I went from trying to fix things, which that didn't really go well. To be honest with you, to just sitting there and just listening to them, really purposely listening.
Some people are just complaining about stuff just because they want to get it out there.
Absolutely, and I realize that's okay to be a soundboard.
Yeah,
and because I need it.
Yeah, they might know. They might already know the solution.
Don't we all know? Kind of know sometimes, man.
Yeah, sometimes
we know
it's already in there. Yeah,
right. So you end up at the end of the day when the conversation's over with, they're high fiving you, thinking that you're a rock star, and it's a win-win. Mm-hmm. It's a win-win.
Speaking of a win, I don't know how long ago this was now, your black belt promotion. Was it 3-4 years now?
Yeah. I'm first degree. Yeah. So it was 2014, September. Yeah.
So what was that like? Because when I met you, you were a brown belt, and you had the brown belt for a long time.
Yeah.
And then something happened. Something kicked you into like 5th gear, and you had a huge weight loss journey. You got shredded. Like everyone's like, man, like people at the gym were like, dude, that dude's an animal.
Right.
And you got your black belt too. I mean, what was that like? That the whole promotion, the whole process.
Wow. Yeah. How far do we go back on that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess when was I know there had to be some kind of moment where you changed. Like there's something
there's a couple of them. I think one that stands out. I don't think it was just one thing. There's always one that that stands out, and that was I had a Division I wrestler come in, big dude, and I think at the time I was like 275.
Okay.
And
little round.
Huh?
Little round.
I was a little round. Yeah, for sure. And I remember him coming in, nicest guy. He wrestled for Pittsburgh, and I've always been able to handle myself even bigger with wrestlers to some degree. He made me feel like a child. And I remember I have a rule in my academy that there's no giving up on the bottom. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You ever see that somebody will be on top and then they'll get swept. Mm-hmm. And as soon as they get swept, they tap out.
Yeah, like I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not allowed in my academy. Like you get 50 push-ups. I've lost a student because of that.
Why would you give up when you get swept? You just attack from the bottom.
Well,
now.
It's an ego thing, right? And we all have it, and I always tell them to manage your ego. Don't leave it out the door because that's not possible. You can manage it at least. So anyway, I remember him putting it to me. I was puking in my mouth, and I almost gave up.
Just from the pressure?
Yeah, because it was constant. I mean, I could not get underneath. I mean, he was that strong, and he was putting his arm underneath my back, which was adding to it. Now, remember, I'm already round,
and he was what 275 or something, big
easily,
boy,
and strong,
all muscle,
man,
probably,
and fast. And I remember feeling helpless, and I think it goes back, to how I was as a child. I didn't like that. I'm not claustrophobic or anything, but I don't like feeling like don't get one over on me, especially when I don't deserve it. You know what I mean? That's when I'm, But yeah, he put that on me, and all of a sudden, all these weird scenarios came in my head. Like I couldn't take care of my family, or if there was an incident, or I felt like I didn't feel worthy to my students.
Yeah, because this guy, did he have any jiu-jitsu?
No,
but a D1 wrestler, dude.
He had international experience. Yeah, I mean I didn't have my gi on.
Look at Ben Askren. I mean, that right? Dude. There's a perfect example.
If I had a gi on, it would have been different.
Oh, this was no gi.
This was no gi.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, trust me. No.
You guys you're pretty much both going to be in the same division at that point. If you were at a tournament, wouldn't you? He'd be right there competing advanced. A guy like that, or no?
Yeah, he would be just because of his
because of his wrestling. So I mean,
no, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he had me pinned down, and I was out of shape, and anyways, there was a reflection period right there, a moment. There was a moment of clarity, so to speak. And I remember I finally got out of into a neutral position, and that's a rule. Once we get there, and I took it, I was getting dizzy, and I just was like, "What is going on?" Yeah. And then it went back to. Then I started taking like inventory of my life at that point, thinking I wasn't congruent with my message. It just hit me right there, being congruent with your message. I have a thing on my wall that says no excuses. And I realized, I remember having this moment right there because I was like trying to breathe and like trying to I was scrambled.
Get your bearings.
And I'm looking at my wall going, I'm not congruent with my message at my academy.
Yeah.
I always thought I was okay. Yeah, I'm big.
Yeah. Yeah.
But come here, don't let the belly and gray hair fool you. I mean, I really did. I felt that way. and because there was other aspects of my life I was congruent with. It was almost like I could have this one, but being bigger because I've battled my weight my whole life. So, and it was that moment right there. I wasn't congruent, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't the word I used, but it was just, I wasn't.
You weren't in line, or
I wasn't. No, man, not with my message, And so I was on a mission. And by the way, it's one of the reasons why I didn't get my black belt. I didn't want it being that big.
Yeah.
So here I was continuously doing it. That moment right there it reminds me of the married couple at the restaurant with a screaming baby. Joe, I don't know if you
never right. I just sitting close to home. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd always look over, at the couple, and they were just ignoring it, and I thought, man, how rude. Well, no, you become what?
You're desensitized to it, yeah.
Right, man. You come to, and that's what I was to my weight, to myself. Yeah. I become desensitized to it, and that was a moment right there. And there was a couple of other ones. Again, thinking about my students and all that, going, this is not how I want my black belt, and this all hit me. So I was on a mission. And, but I didn't want it to be a thing where it was, get your black belt and blow up again. I didn't want that either. So
you want to make a lifestyle change.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I had been battling, I had done a lot of diets, and so I found one that would be considered a quick fix, but it ended up being a diet that I'm currently on 5 years later.
So sustainable for you.
It was, man. Yeah. Absolutely. And it completely transformed my physique. I didn't know I had abs. And I didn't know I could look that way. So things started anyway. My hope, look, not only did I change, my academy changed. Mm-hmm. I started having more enrollments. Yeah,
just because you look better, you feel better, you got more confidence.
There's a lot going on.
Feel that, see that.
Absolutely. So it was kind of when I tell that story, I almost cringe because it was so obvious. You know what I mean? It was so obvious if I had done that. My life, right?
Right.
But the whole weight thing and diet is my cross to bear, man. Mm-hmm. And some people like to have a beer or a cocktail at the end of the evening or blow lines, whatever they do.
Yeah, right.
Or opioid, whatever they do, man. Me, I like to relax with a large pizza.
Yeah. Oh, Domino's or shit pizza too. I don't even. It doesn't have to be good. It could be garbage.
Yeah.
The more garbage it is, the better for me.
Yeah. So I'm a carboholic, my man. Mm-hmm. So for sure. But anyways, I found a diet that worked for me, and thank God, and it changed my life. And next thing you know, I wanted to do a tournament. I hadn't been in a fight in years.
Yeah.
So it's not like So I did a IBGF Chicago as a brown belt.
Yeah.
Yep. I only had one match, but that didn't matter to me because it was about the nerves, and I hadn't competed in like 8 years.
There's a lot you got to deal with,
right?
man. Yeah.
And it was the IBGF, man.
And you they're the strictest. You got to be on it.
Yes. Man. So there was a lot going on. All of that, and I got the submission, and it was a proud moment for me, and my son was there, and it just was, man, yeah. And you know what it was? It's those things when you keep going like that, you keep challenging yourself, it just keeps fueling the fire. Mm-hmm. I think I heard one of your podcasts. It was the power that bodybuilding couple.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening on the way.
Dennis and Ariel, yeah.
And she had said, now what? And you do need a now what. Mm-hmm. You can, don't just say,
you can't just top out. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have some. I can't speak for everyone, but for me, I needed something. Mm-hmm. So it was the black belt, and then black belt came. And next thing you know, students change, attitudes change. So that was another thing that kept going. And then I just started to compete. I wanted to continue to test myself. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. And then along that journey of competing, which was still hard for me. Don't get me wrong. I was still nervous about it. But you know what? Putting it on the line in front of your students was another thing.
And family, and
it was
because your wife will watch too.
Yeah, right? Because my wife looks at me as like
she looks up to you. I mean,
my wife thinks I could.
You're the toughest dude alive, and you go to a tournament, and if you get subbed, who's this guy? He's kind of
exactly.
Right?
So all those ego type issues were there, and you know what it was, man. I just of course that can be a weakness too, right? Mm-hmm. And so that came into play, and I thought, no, man, I want to do this. Mm-hmm. I want to do this. I remember I went to my student, my right hand man, Ryan. I go, I just blurted it out like a fart, man. Yeah, I go, I'm doing this, and I wasn't even all in on it. Yeah. But once I said it to him, I was accountable.
Now you got to do it,
right?
Yeah. Just I was like a New Year's resolution.
Yes, man. I was accountable. Especially, look, it's one thing to say I want to lose weight and then go back to being fat. I've done that. Mm-hmm. But to tell your student, your right hand man who's been with you, somebody that
that looks
has
up to you too.
has respect for me,
Yeah.
and I have same for him. I got respect for him. This is like that right there. You don't go back on that.
You can't. No,
I've gone
dude.
back on diets, man, but I was not going back on what I just told him. And I lost my first 6 black belt matches.
Hey, it happens. I mean,
It does. Well, I had when I did compete as a blue and purple, I was on a tear.
yeah,
I mean, I did well. I even would go up into
absolute. Or,
the next level.
Oh, okay.
So when I was a blue, I would go to purples.
Purple,
I remember
yeah.
getting in arguments with the guys at Naga
Yeah.
because they thought it was shameful that I was doing that. Because for the purple belt, they're screwed either way. They win.
Oh, you beat a blue belt. Good
But if
for
you
you.
win, but if you lose, I remember telling them I want to test myself.
Mhm.
That's how I was. And there was that big gap, weight gain, not sure. I started going back to this weird thing. I wasn't growing as a man, and then of course, I told you that story about the wrestler. All that kind of changed, and then I wanted to keep going, and but I was in instructor mode.
Yeah.
So my first 6 black belt matches. I mean, you got a certain amount of time.
yeah. And
I
you're
never got
training-
submitted, but
Yeah.
and I didn't get blown out, but I didn't win.
Yeah.
And but there was, remember I told you about the unintended. I remember getting messages from students that had been with me, just like tell them how, I don't know, I don't want to be overly dramatic, but just inspirational it was
To see you compete.
to see their instructor do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To put it on the line. I mean, we're talking about jiu-jitsu tournament. It's not like I was going off to Iraq or anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
But for them, it was such so there it is again, Joey.
Mm-hmm. Leading by example.
Leading by
right?
example. But now that propelled me even more to what?
Do it again,
Diet,
yeah.
train. So it
Get
just
after
kept
it.
going. And I feel like that's what it was. You cannot just, momentum. The momentum kept
Mhm.
going. So I was getting frustrated. I had lost 6, whether it was by advantage point or 2 points, it didn't matter.
Do you feel like you lost because of the skill level is that much higher at black belt, or the rules are different, or just the way that they approach the matches are different? Or
I'm going to say that's a good question. I want to be careful I answer this because I don't want to take away from my opponents. But based on how I lost, I felt like, look, the guys I lost to were black belts.
they're good, yeah.
They were 4th, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, it was I was holding back because they were black belts,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I was still in instructor mode.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I was in instructor mode, meaning I was
You're
just
trying to look cool and
Well,
calm.
no, I don't know about cool, but I was calm. Yeah, I don't know about cool, but I was certainly like, hey, I'm going to open up my guard. You're going to do your thing, and then I'm going to counter that.
Yeah. Right.
Joey, there was no countering it.
No. They know what they're black belts.
They're black belts.
Oops, I forgot.
Right?
Right.
And I had that very slow, methodical approach, and then it would be time. And I realized I lost by 2 points, or that was kind of going on. You got to go, man.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. The rule set, and I remember losing several times by advantage. Got to get an advantage and hang on to me. And I'm cross-facing him. He's in my guard, but he had gotten a half guard, advantage point.
Yeah.
So I put him back into guard. He would just hang on.
Yeah, whatever, right?
And I would just cross-face him in time. My students didn't ask how I lost. All they know is, you lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I at the time I wanted to kind of go, wait, hear my story.
Yeah, but then you're that
The ego,
guy, right?
then you're that guy.
Yeah. Oh, let's hear the excuse this time, right?
So I'm like biting my tongue, Joey, right?
Yeah,
Because you
yeah.
don't want to be that guy.
Uh-huh.
So what am I going to do about it? I'm not having this, man.
Mm-mm.
I know what I'm capable of, or maybe I don't know what I'm capable of. I don't know. I just know I could do better. So I was on a mission. So I made a phone call to 2 guys who I think they've got, in my opinion, the toughest academies in the area. And I'm not disrespecting anybody else, maybe, but it's New Breed out of Chicago, Mark Vives. I've
heard the same about them.
Man,
Killers.
they are killers, but it's mindset, and he's had that mindset for years, so he's developed it. And then Scott Houston out of Braza, Brazilian 360.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys.
Braza, they fill up tournaments too.
They do.
You go to a tournament, they got the whole.
They do.
Yeah.
But I got, and they're just tough. But Scott's guys are homegrown.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, I think, are just killers. So I just spent more time with him. But I spend the majority of my time now with Mark Vives. Jeff Curran is still, I'm going to throw this out there. Jeff is still my instructor, and that will never change. Mark is my competition coach.
Yeah.
And that guy has changed me. He has told me how things really are. He set me straight on some things. And his guys are.
So he's got the bodies that, that work
and
too.
the
for
mindset.
That. Yeah.
Let me tell you. So that I started working with him a little bit. I would drive to Chicago, tolls, gas, twice a week. And I remember going to Charlotte, and me and my wife flew to Charlotte for the
IBJJ,
the Open, and I was still nervous because I was told this guy Sean, international competitor, I was going up against him. The first guy submitted, so I finally got that off my back. The black belt, right? Some boxer who fought Kimbo Slice. I don't know who he was, but he was a black belt out of St. Louis. I armbarred him, and that was just a moment right there.
Boom.
Just because it was a finish. By the way, too, I want to say something earlier. The whole point thing was troublesome to me because I teach my students to finish, that finish mindset, whether it's street or
more self-defense even, right? Yeah.
Finish, right?
So you're not going to hold a guy in your guard on the street and get pounded.
Right, yeah.
But I probably won by points,
So, I won that way, and which has hurt me in the past trying to win by submission too. But anyway, so I won that, and I went in the finals. So I got spooked. I got spooked by this guy.
Psyched yourself out before the match.
So I lost a referee's decision. I still did better, and but I could not go home. I'm in Charlotte. I mean, it might as well have been the other side of the planet. I could not go home, so I signed up for the Open, which is I never done that before.
Oh, open division, whatever weight,
the absolute division, yeah. And I had asked that guy who I lost to because I felt like it was up here. I go, will you be in it? He's like, yeah. So I remember I had 4 hours. I had a meal and I just waited, because I was going to win it. And I end up first guy. He wasn't in it. He ended up for some reason bowed out. I wanted him bad, but I beat the first guy. Choke, monkey flipped him in the air, choked him, and then I was in the finals. It was that simple. And then I had won the finals against a guy from Colombia, and my first gold medal. And then then all of a sudden the successes were coming.
Boom.
I think it was mental. I realized you got to rock.
Yep.
You got to rock. And then I forgot. I've lost some, of course, by points. I've won some fight to wins. I've done well at that, but I've lost 2 by referee's decision. I thought I won my last match, but it is what it is. But no, it's been a great ride. And I'm continuing it. There's no doubt. I'm gonna go until the wheels fall off, Joey.
Yeah. But now, well, good, dude. I mean, you can. There's a really long future in jiu-jitsu.
There
you
is.
can do it almost till you're, handicapped or something.
Joey, I'm gonna go until my face hits the mat. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. You can't even army crawl. That's when you stop moving,
yes,
right?
Man. And look, I got the best gig in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I do, man. And even when I think about retirement, you and I were talking about this. And I hope I'm not skipping all over the place. But
no, do it.
I picture myself living somewhere a little bit warmer,
but still training, right? I mean,
man, I do. Everybody says, well, I just got this picture in my head. Remember,
you can't have an end goal with jiu-jitsu. There's no end, right? I mean,
there is no end. No, I just want to keep going. I want to be. I want to be able. Look, I run my business, my academy, in a way where I hope I can retire. But how I picture retirement is me and my wife somewhere warm, and I'm driving on a boardwalk with one of those little beach bikes, Joey. I'm talking about the little the bell. And I got a book, and I'm going to have coffee in the morning. I'm on the boardwalk, and my part-time gig or what I do is jiu-jitsu, man.
Yep. Whether it just be doing some privates here and there or whatever. Yeah.
You got me doing the executive class or privates, or you want me doing kids.
Yoga. Yoga for jiu-jitsu.
I mean, that's how I picture my life. Some people.
But just maybe stepping back from all the behind the scenes stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But other than that, and my wife, and I'm still, we get to decide where we're going to have sushi, me and my wife. And I'm right back at it. I'm sure my wife has a different picture.
You can meet somewhere in the middle, though, right? I mean, that's how it usually goes with everything.
But she trains with me now. She does.
Oh, good.
She does the kickbox. She's not too hip on
jiu-jitsu,
sweaty guys.
Yeah, that's how Jackie is. I can't get her to sometimes I get her to roll with me, but it's more like flirting and it's not super serious. I'm just like, all right, this is pointless. So,
right.
Whatever. But
no point intended.
I meant to ask, since you are competing a lot, how does that work with sponsorships? Do they reach out to you or I mean, obviously they don't pay enough to pay the bills,
No.
But I mean,
not for me. I mean, there are some like you said, Pasesha.
Yeah.
I heard he gets an obscene amount of money.
Oh yeah.
from Show Your Roll.
Muscle Farm too.
Maybe
He's doing that.
Yeah. And I don't know I don't know what the truth is, but some people they tell me, oh, this is what he's getting. No, but God bless him.
The Mendez brothers, they're
I've heard, but Busesha, I heard it's obscene.
Yeah.
So
he's actually making a living with it.
Yeah. Mendez brothers are killing it too.
Yeah.
Good Lord. But God bless them. No, so Show Your Roll. I'm sponsored by Show Your Roll. So how that began was your prior guest, Kenny.
Oh, Kenny.
Which is the reason why I came today.
Actually, he was just here like an
I know
hour
he
ago.
was. I know. Because I was kind of punking out on you because I thought the weather was going to be. But when you told me no, you told me Kenny was coming. I wasn't going to go out like that.
Yeah.
Because he wussed out and moved to Florida.
Yeah. If he can make it, he lives in Florida.
Exactly. So I couldn't wuss out on you.
He drove all the way up from Florida just to do this episode.
Did he drive?
No, I don't know.
No, not the episode, but I know he's driven in the past. I didn't know if he flew out or what. But
I don't know because it was kind of a last minute deal, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, when they had the hurricane, he drove up here.
Yeah.
So
he took all his stuff with him. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. I think the truck he was in was a rental. So
was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Good dude. Anyway, so Kenny, I remember it was during my thicker period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was husky on this one. I wasn't.
Wasn't
husky.
You weren't big country.
No, it wasn't big country, but I was husky. So, anyways, I didn't know about the different gi sizes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how out of touch I was at the time.
Yeah.
This is a couple years ago.
Well, like the L and the H and stuff.
Yeah, the husky sizes.
Yeah.
So I remember him telling me about it, and I just kind of dismissed it because I just wore what I wore, and I remember he gave me a gi. He gave me a Show Your Roll gi. I still have it, by the way, and I'm actually going to pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give that gi to somebody who I think is worthy of it that will wear it. So he paid it forward, so to speak, and he gave it to me, and it fit like a glove.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, I don't know, for some reason I was enamored by that. It was so well.
How big was it then?
Huh?
What size was it?
It was a A2H.
A2H? That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
no,
A2 now?
A3H?
Yeah, probably an A3H.
I think it was an A3H, bud.
Because you're probably an A2 now.
I'm an
right?
A2 now.
Yeah.
So it was an A3H, and I remember that. And I remember hearing some rumblings of Show Your Rolls and all that. So I had, at the time, Kenny, or Chris, he's one of my instructors, he was in a Show Your Roll. He says, yeah, I ought to go on these forums. So I went on these forums, and it was just this whole community about a gi, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
Right?
Every Friday they drop, or not every Friday, but on Friday, whatever, they drop them, and they sell out within an hour.
They do.
I've got a couple.
You do. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I mean, what a business model. I mean, it was nothing unique about it. He just took.
It wasn't groundbreaking. I mean, it's very basic looking.
It is. I mean, it is. But the whole fact, what's the word? It's, if you don't, it's hard to get items. Yeah. So we want them.
It's subtle and it's comfortable.
But for me, it was the whole community and it's how people were cool with each other. So I started buying used gis, and when I would get these used gis, people would throw in hats and all kinds of other stuff. It's just something you do when you sell a used gi.
Yeah.
And I just was so taken back by the community. I started looking into the brand, and I was a fan of it right there. A fan. I mean, I got obsessed for a little bit buying gis. So I decided.
That happens, dude. I have way too many.
Do you?
Yeah.
I got a lot, man.
Yeah. Cool.
So I decided to.
And when you really like them, they're usually expensive, right? The ones you like.
Works, right?
Yeah. It's like I could get these $90 gis and they probably do the trick, but let's get this $200 one.
Well, some of my favorite players, they wore those. So I'm a sucker for that too. So, anyways, it was more about the brand and what they stood for. And anyway, I had I don't know, everything was going well. Mm-hmm. Right, I'm doing my thing, and I'm on cloud 9 with everything. I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a whirl. I'm going to reach out to them. What can they say?
Yeah, no, darn. Okay, I'm right back where I was.
Yeah, or not even answer me at all.
That's usually how it goes.
Right. So I end up reaching out to them. I didn't get nowhere, and then I reached out. My instructor and Jeff reached out to him, and I had a buddy of mine. He owns a 10th Planet, and he reached out. He reached out to them. I just wanted to get my name.
A 10th Planet guy reaching out for a gi.
I know.
That's
well,
weird.
It was actually a buddy of his
who
was already sponsored by him. And long story short, they knew about me because of these two people. Mm-hmm. And shout out to Jeremy Horton from 10th Planet in Missouri, and Brian Marvin from Sugarland, Gracie Baja. But yeah, so and they told Bear about me, and they did a little research on me. and they thought it took some time, man. It was not just a yes.
Yeah, here you go. Right.
There was a process with it, and they wanted to know who's going to represent them. And after however they deliberated, they thought I would be a good fit for them, and I am a proud sponsored Show Your Roll athlete.
That's awesome.
So I get I don't want to get into what I get or I don't, but it's beyond gear.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond gear.
That's cool.
So that's the good news.
Yeah. No, I was wondering how it worked as far as even reaching out to them. I imagine it can be exhausting trying to reach out to different sponsorships.
Yeah, because I've had people ask me, how can you help me? And I'm not saying I won't help people, but before I vouch for somebody, you got to be a good dude.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just your game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be a good dude. Because I had somebody reach out to me recently.
Well, because you're going to represent this company, and they're going to see what you do off the mats too.
Absolutely, man.
Right?
Absolutely. You can't be a douchebag. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying that they don't have a couple, but I'm sure they weed those dudes out because Bear is a smart guy. He just wants everything to be organic, and he's just a smart dude, and he doesn't want us going out there going, hey, next week's the drop, the magic kimono drop. He doesn't want us doing that.
Mm-mm.
He doesn't want us flaunting the stuff he gives us.
Yeah.
He wants it to be very organic. If you're wearing a gi, take a picture. That's good enough. He doesn't ask a lot of his athletes. Just be cool.
Yeah.
Be cool, man.
Well, yeah, because if you're a fan of Show Your Roll, you know when it's dropping. You're on the email list. If you've heard of them, like you're waiting by the computer at 11:59, to put that in your cart.
Yeah. I'm fortunate enough I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. Must be nice.
It is.
I'm an
nice.
A2 also, just so you know.
I hear 10-4, Joey. And I'm also sponsored by I don't know one of your competitors.
Oh, you're fine. He's cool. The guy.
Is he cool?
Yeah.
I'm a monkey tape athlete, man.
That's cool too.
They're another group. I reached out to them, type thing, because I wore it. Look, I don't. Look, I know they're not gonna throw a lot at me. No. But if I like your stuff, if I like your products,
I'm aware. Yeah. Right.
Of course I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
Is something? Can we?
Yeah,
so
I'm spending money with you guys anyways, right? I mean,
but I don't expect them to give me free stuff. I don't, because that's not fair. I mean, because you can't survive off that.
I'm gonna buy it either way. Right? I am. That's the thing. That's how I am.
Look, all I ask is just respond to me.
Yeah.
I'm funny that way. Don't ignore me. I had another guy ignore me. I don't want to say who it was, and he was down for me. I must have asked for too much. He asked me, he goes, "What do you want?" And I go, "I did the Show Your Roll thing.
Mm-hmm.
I went off their model."
Yeah.
And
might have been.
All of a sudden, it was crickets, man.
Yeah, you're like, okay, that's too much. Let's reel it back.
I had no problem with it. For me, it's more of a feather in the cap. I like your stuff.
Yeah.
But he asked me what I wanted. I thought, if Show Your Rolls want to do this, because he's connected with Show Your Roll, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I just said that. All of a sudden, So I don't know if I pissed him off or I don't know. I didn't get that chance, so I won't buy any of his stuff. Not because he denied me,
but just because he didn't respond. Yeah.
Look, man, when you're out there saying that I don't know. I revere certain professions.
Yeah.
And when you're out there saying that you're a former special, we'll just say you're in the Army or you're in the military and you're this and that. I expect you to have the balls to say, look, man, I don't appreciate, or look, I don't do that. Mm-hmm. But to ignore me, I hate that, man.
Yeah.
So I no longer buy his stuff for that reason. Not because if he would have said, no, look, that's not what I'm doing, or at this time we're not taking. Or
come back at you with a different offer or something.
Or we're not even doing sponsorships at this time.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll still time up.
No. That battery doesn't last that long.
Oh, yikes. Am I running my mouth?
No. You're good.
I'm on 2 things of Starbucks coffee, Joey.
Oh, a nitro brew, or what do you drink?
No, I can't handle that.
Okay.
I have my own blend.
That'll go through me.
So when I go to, they know me. I'm like Norm from Cheers.
Mm-hmm. That's how Alpine is with me.
Is that?
Yeah. Hey, Joey, what's up? It's over there. Just pay us.
That's it. Yeah. So I do a quarter dark roast.
Okay.
The rest decaf with steamed heavy cream.
Oh, gee.
It's my keto. It's my own.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you keto. Yep.
I keto it, man.
That's cool. Yeah. No, as far as the sponsors for the show too, I bought their tape once. I liked how it worked, so I just kept buying it. And then I did the same thing you did. I just said, hey, look, I got a podcast. I buy your stuff anyways. Like, hey, would you be interested in me giving you guys some shout outs here and there? And
absolutely. I think that was good. I think that could be a win-win. I don't want to ever feel a product or somebody when I ask. That's what I told Monkey Tape. I said, look, I'm going to buy it either way, my man.
Yeah.
Don't you feel hijacked.
That's how that's what I said. Like, dude,
I don't care enough about it.
And I don't know, like, if they make a huge markup on, because they're not selling it for hundreds of dollars. It's $5 for a pack or $6 for a pack of 2. So, Like, I'm not like, hey, dude, if you don't want to give me a ton of free stuff, I'm still gonna buy it.
No,
like,
I told them that too, because I don't want them to feel hijacked.
Yep.
I said, this is what I do. They go, we know who you are. I said,
Mhm.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, sweet.
And I said, yeah, I go, I own an academy. So why, look, and again, don't feel hijacked, my man. I said, I'm cool. I'm riding high right now. I told him.
Yeah, I just won IBJJF.
Just all kinds of other things going on. My students, everything was just going well. I just thought it'd be fun. And he says, you know what? We would love for you to be, one of our athletes. So I said, great.
Perfect, dude.
That's it. So I those are the two. I'm also a We Defy Academy.
Mm-hmm.
They work with, you talked about that power lifter.
Yeah. Yep.
So
any veterans pretty much?
Yeah, veterans that have, PTSD, amputees. We have a thing where we work out where they get to train with us.
Yeah.
I don't have somebody yet for that. I don't abuse that, type of thing. But I'm a part of them. I wholeheartedly believe what it's done for me, and I don't have those issues.
Yeah.
So I know what it's done for me, and I know I've seen, what it's done for
others that
I do, man.
Yeah. Well, also the Parkinson's thing too. Aren't you doing something with that too?
Man,
or
I am.
I saw some videos. I don't know exactly what you're doing, but
yeah. So there's a thing called Rocksteady Boxing. It's I think it's nationwide. I didn't know about it. A former PE teacher out of Hononegah, his father-in-law suffers from Parkinson's, and they'd asked me if I would want to do a program like that. And I thought it was just such a great idea,
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely. So I got in touch with this lady named Linda. She's wonderful. She has Parkinson's as well. She's the only female out of 12 men that have it. And so we have that. I don't know if I should say this, but somebody very I just want to give this. I kind of want to give this person a shout out, but they want to be anonymous. Somebody that owns one of our sports teams in Chicago. he's the benefactor of that,
Okay.
And so we worked something out where obviously I'm going to give into it, but he helps with a lot of things, and he's a wonderful man, and she's wonderful, Linda. So people with Parkinson's, they come to us, and we put them through whether it's MMA, it's kind of Rocksteady Boxing-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I went to Elgin where they had a program. I watched it, and so we do our own thing.
Yep.
I was going to follow theirs, but it was like a year waiting list. So Coach Chris Johnson, he works with them. They love him. So we've taken it to another level. We'll play kickball with them and dodgeball.
I've seen some of those. Yep.
Because it's good for the heart, man. It's good for the soul. We'll do things like that, and we do all the boxing and a little bit of jitsu. Man, we make things up.
Yeah.
We just make
get moving.
We just get them moving.
Yeah.
And it's changed our life. There's so many of those. So many of the men there, they're off medications. They don't need it. And I'm not saying it's what we're doing specifically. I think the only thing that we provide is we just provide a culture, and we're like a tribe. At this point, we take credit for that. But I think if they were to do anything, would be helpful. Let's be honest, Joey.
Yeah.
But,
just moving around in general.
Just moving
right?
around.
Yeah,
but we keep it interesting. We try to.
That's the thing. They can move on a treadmill. That's boring. They come in with you. They can do something fun, and you can interact with other people, which is huge.
It is, man.
Group setting is like where it's at for fitness. Any kind of fitness.
It always helps when you're around like-minded people.
Yep.
And some of these men, they're a man's man. Or they still are in my eyes, but it's changed them fundamentally as men.
Oh, sure.
When you have Parkinson's. Yeah. And to see these men, and I don't want to say who they are, but they own major corporations. They've done a lot for this community, for the Rockford community. So it's not just earning money, but they're job creators. They still are, and they've changed. They're a part of the community, and to see what they are now, I don't know them any differently. But to hear their stories is amazing, and their struggle, and they struggle with themselves, man. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, you're not the same man as you were. You're whittled down, and I tell you, who's even who I'm even more impressed with, it's the wives.
For staying around and for the stuff they go through.
It's incredible, man. It's incredible what they had to endure, and so it's been a very fulfilling thing for Coach Chris. and for Kevin, he helps out, and I've got some volunteers that help out. It's just been like I said, it's just been a great experience.
Yeah.
To see that. So
Sounds like it looks like fun. So what do you got going on for goals for 2018 for this year? Did you do like a resolution thing at the beginning of the year? You did?
I saw, what's that all about?
Some people don't like it.
I get pumped up about it.
Yeah, I like it.
I do. I understand it gets a bad rap, but
I tell people too so they can hold you accountable. That's what I tell Jackie. Actually, I think I put some of them on one of the episodes too, just so like anybody listening could be like, hey, by the way, remember when you said, whatever. So
no, I do. Me and my wife, we review them pretty much every Sunday, and I probably went a little too much with the goals.
Aim high, man. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to play catch up, trying to shore up the ones, Yeah. So where do I begin? I'm gonna call it the triple threat.
Okay.
The triple threat. It's actually not my term, but
okay. Copyrighted.
Yeah, right. Well, I actually heard it. It was an interesting thing. It's called the triple threat, and what that means is it's academy owners who can perform, like
compete.
Or just be good at their art.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to compete. That's in the
they can perform what they're teaching. They can do it, right? Yeah.
Then there's the business end of it, right? Not just the money aspect of it, but the programs and just we'll say the academy part of it. And last but not least, man, it's the product. And Joey, that's been the thing right now that I've been focusing on. Now I know it's a very general thing. What I mean by the product is my students. They're a product of me. And I didn't really understand. I kind of understood that in the beginning, but I was doing what was status quo. Now more and more, I spend a lot of time and money and effort, whether it's traveling or whatever it is. I mean, I go to other academies all the time. Sometimes I just get up and go to other academies, man. I fly out.
Stay relevant with like the newest, latest,
I want to see what's
going
on. If it's not even newest or greatest, but if this academy is rocking it, why are they rocking it? Why are they doing well?
Like the Danaher Death Squad.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Get more in touch with the leg locks again.
Maybe. Or is it or is it mindset? See, we keep talking about like systems.
Yeah.
Or what about mindset? That's been a thing with me right now for a long time is mindset. What I may lack, let's say my students, let's say in competition. I remember having a conversation with a buddy of mine. He's a Alliance guy. And he says, yeah, he goes, you ever want to do a tournament, let me know, grappling. And he was smug about it. And I'm all down for that. But they are very tournament based. Don't have a problem with that one bit. But I told him, I said, well, how about we'll do an MMA version? Because I'm very much into the self-defense part of it. Yeah. And mindset, not just berimbolo, work on grips.
Yeah.
Let's do pancration. Because that's what jiu-jitsu was about, was
or like the combat jiu-jitsu now that's out.
A little bit like that. Let's do that. You know what I mean? But anyways, I was just being a smart ass. But I forgot where we're going with that. I'm sorry.
No.
But goal. So it's a triple threat. So anyway, being the product. I want my students to be good. So my goal is all centered, all right, except for some personal ones with my wife. You know what I mean? Some, having a better, stronger relationship with her.
Yeah, and that's something that's going to be working on forever. I mean,
it is. It is. But yeah, she's my rock. I mean, but that triple threat, everything I do centers around that. Because that's my purpose in life, man. I don't want to be overly dramatic, but that's I know what my purpose is right now. And that is very important to me to have purpose. And
that's what keeps you going.
It is, man. Yeah. It is for sure. And so goal wise for me, I want to keep getting better at jiu-jitsu. I mean, like really get better. I see a lot of people, I remember watching BJ Penn say, yeah, whether you won or lost it, I just want to get, I'm always learning, always getting better. And look, he's one of my favorites. Okay. I didn't see that though. I always felt like he always fought the same.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I didn't see the new and improved.
Yep.
I don't want to be that guy, even at 47.
You just want to keep evolving.
I do truly though keep evolving. Like technique wise, I don't. Somewhere certain things are going to go to the wayside. I don't know what that is, but I feel like at my age, I'm still able to perform.
I like that. I mean, I like even just taking a whole different approach. Some days I'll just take a whole different approach to training in general. Like instead of going because of wrestling for so long, instead of going for the takedown and working on top. Yeah. Let's work on the bottom. I don't even care if you pass my guard 20 times.
Yes.
or let's, you know what, I'm going to try to attack this person's legs all day, and they submit me, whatever. But
And that takes discipline to do that, by the way. I'm going to tell you something right now, because we want to go back to her.
Yeah, to where you're good. To where
good
you're
for you, Joey.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Whatever, Dave.
Good for you.
I don't. Heel hooks kind of freak me out, but whatever. You know?
Absolutely. But yeah, we talk about deliberate practice. Remember earlier? I am all about deliberate practice. Take an honest assessment or an accounting of your jiu-jitsu. Yes, you want to have fun, but I have students that are just very, some are attribute based, and I try to get them out of that. I'm trying to fix that with some, but they're pigeonhole themselves. Yeah, and then they're in denial about it too.
Yeah, the process is linear, right? It's great here.
Or go do the same. I got some guys that just leg locks.
Yeah.
And
what are you gonna do when you can't get a hold of someone's leg?
Well, that's what I said to them, and of course they'll, I'm not picking on you. You know what I'm talking about.
I think I know,
or maybe I am. I don't know, but it's only because I care. You know, no, but their journey is theirs, and they'll tell me that. But as their instructor, I tell them, I know what you want. However, I know what you need, and I think to be well rounded. So I hope I'm not ranting here, but my man, So just as far as getting better, I want to be truly get better. I take it. It's a tedious process, but I'm all about it, and the business end of it, we'll call it, improving my academy. I have some mentors. It's not free, but it's okay. I mean, I'm all in on what I do, but there's some things they know how to do better, and that's where I've had to step up. I've been a 4-stripe blue belt in business for too long. Yeah. I want to be that triple threat, right? Yep. I want to be good at that. So right now, I'm working on that. And again, it's not about money as much as doing things just to keep my academy. I want more
value,
from my academy.
Right?
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? It's not enough just to be a good instructor. So there's other things that have to happen. So I'm learning that, and everybody learns differently. And then what's the next thing is, again, the product. I want my students to get better, and I'm a little bit of a ball breaker, but I truly care. I want them to get better, and of course, that to me is my legacy, right there. And I always thought legacy was something the elites.
Yeah, right. I gotta leave this behind, right?
But no, it's not, man. I mean, So the product, and I'm learning. I've seen my students, most of them, jiu-jitsu, the level go up because I've learned how to coach better, and I see things a little differently through my own experiences.
Yeah, now that you're competing more too, right?
But also the people I surround myself with.
Yeah,
let's make that clear, man.
Yeah, your mentors. Yeah.
Yeah, my mentors and people I've trained with. That they say there's not a secret sauce, but there is a little bit. I mean, for sure. There's a way of doing things, and so I'm seeing the level of jiu-jitsu go up. I do it because I want to. I also do it because there's always somebody in your backyard. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and you gotta keep up with the herd, and I plan on doing that. So
yeah, you actually gotta stay ahead of the herd.
You do, man. Yep. You do in some ways, absolutely, man.
The world's always spinning. If you stand still, it's gonna pass you up.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, one thing I want to add too is I've got the most students right now that I ever have competing at the Chicago Open.
That's awesome.
That. Me, that's a milestone, and that says something that they want to do that. I never had that in the past.
Yeah.
So now I do, and win or lose, it doesn't matter at this point. I just to go there as a team, as a unit, as a tribe. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not even thinking about me.
You competing too?
I am, but I'm not thinking about that. I'm like planning everybody, Bryce and Adam, and I don't want to forget anybody, Chris and Ryan, Coach Ryan. I'm like I just want them to be ready.
So much anxiety almost.
There is. I get tensed up about it. I get nervous for them.
I'm sure more than for yourself, right?
Oh, much more.
Yeah.
Much more. So, yeah.
That's crazy. And then as far as well, I guess you already touched on this. I was thinking about the future beyond 2018. I kind of think I have an idea of where you want to be in the future. You want to be somewhere warm, getting sushi.
Well, that's the end goal, we'll say, before I sail off into the sunset.
Yep.
And have like a Viking death.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
Out in the ocean, send me out there. Yeah. No. It's to continue. Look, there's certain things, like you say, the future. It's always I was to continue to better the academy.
Yeah.
But I do. I have certain goals with. There's a certain amount of students I want. Right.
Yeah.
I've got leadership programs I'm implementing that I think are second to none for my kids. that's the future is
Yeah.
the kids, and I've got some kids that have been with me for a minute, and the thought of being at their graduation ceremony, I think about that. To me, that's the future.
Yeah.
Those are the things I look forward to. I'm not retired at that point because I'll have it soon, but just always continuously progressing the academy. And honestly, at this point, the academy is more than me now.
Mhm.
It's starting to be a thing of its own, which I'm glad, to be honest with you.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's good.
That's it. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, is anyone you want to give a shout out to on here while we're on? Or?
My beautiful and supportive wife. Absolutely. And I mean that. I know that's cliche. Without her, it's truly. She, I don't give her enough credit. She allowed me to do some things that other girlfriends, some girlfriends wouldn't have put up with, but I wouldn't be where I'm at today without her. And I want her to know that, definitely, like I said, I got the best job in the world because of her. So show your roll, geese, absolutely. Monkey tape, my coaches, Chris, Ryan, they help me. They're amazing. When I go away, they take over the mothership. My instructor Jeff Curran. My jiu-jitsu is because of him, and Mark Vives, my competition coach, and my students. They're amazing. I got the best ones in the world. Sorry, Joey.
Hey, thanks a lot. So, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, can we give out your social media info here? Or
Yeah, how do you do that?
Well, I guess you can find Tommy Woodruff, Tommy Woodruff.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
Right?
not spelled Tommy
It's
though.
not.
So what's your handle there?
Right. It's Tomee Woodruff.
Is there a dot in there too?
I don't
I thought
know.
there's a dot. Tommy dot. Maybe not.
All I know, there's a very handsome picture of me in the profile.
Must be photoshopped.
Right. Must be. Yeah.
And then he's on Facebook, Tommy Woodruff.
Yeah. Tommy,
Yeah.
Woodruff. And then
And Core Combat Sports on Facebook and
as
Instagram
well,
too.
and Instagram.
Okay, sweet. Well, thanks for coming out, dude.
Thanks for having me, my man.
All right. Bye-bye.